look, your computer's just crashed. Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened before. Well, Bob, if you're tired of this happening all the time, then maybe you should stop being a corporate sheep using Microsoft Windblows and switch to Linux. I don't know, dude. I heard that Linux is really hard to use. Nonsense! Linux has come a long way since the 90s. In fact, it's so easy to use that I even installed it on my grandmother's PC. Dude, isn't your grandmother dead? That's right, Linux is so simple even dead people can use it. So, what does Linux do that Windows can't? I'm glad you asked that, Bob. You see, most software is designed to take away your freedom to share and change it, but Linux is open source, meaning the source code is available to anyone who wants to make changes to it. Dude, I'm not a programmer. I don't give a rat's ass about that kind of thing. But there's more. Linux isn't just about freedom, it's also about choice. With Windows, there's only one version, but with Linux, there are tons of different distros to choose from. You got Ubuntu, Mint, Debian, OpenSUSE, Fedora, and so many more. Okay, so what's the difference between all those? Well, can you explain it in a way that's understandable to the average user? Did I mention my grandmother uses Linux? Look, all you've told me is that the greatest feature of Linux is something I don't care about, and that installing it means I have to make a choice about something I know nothing about. Well, that's your problem, Bob. You just don't want to learn. Linux isn't just about freedom and choice, it's also about learning how your computer works. Windows? That's a dumbed-down operating system that doesn't let you really muck about with the guts of your operating system. Dude, I'm a graphic designer. I got better things to do than screw around with my computer. As far as I'm concerned, an operating system has two jobs: run the apps I want and get in the way as little as possible. And speaking of apps, does Linux have Adobe Photoshop? Photoshop? You don't need that. Yeah, I do. I need it for my job. Well, don't you worry because Linux has you covered. We've got tons of amazing open source image editing programs like GIMP. GIMP? You mean that freaky guy in Pulp Fiction? No, I'm talking about the GNU Image Manipulation Program. GNU? What the hell is GNU? Why, it stands for GNU's Not Unix. What? Don't worry, it's a recursive acronym. You have to have a very high IQ to understand it. Right, so I want something easy to use, so maybe I'll install Ubuntu. Idiot. What did you just say? Oh sure, you could use something like Ubuntu if you're a dumb, stupid baby. You might as well be using Windows. If you were a real Linux user, you'd be running Arch. But you just said Linux is about choice and freedom. Yeah, and that includes the freedom to choose the wrong distro, which is all of them if you've got a problem. Right, so I've installed Linux and what the hell is with this directory system? I mean, they're all named things like sbin and var opt and usrsrc. Why not just use names that are easy to read like documents or program files? That's because you're a moron, Bob. Linux is designed to be like Unix, the most important operating system in computing history. Wait, so you're telling me that this modern operating system is using directory names that date from the Richard Nixon era? Yeah, and what's your point, Bob? Wait, why doesn't my laptop's touchpad work? Why, it looks like you've run into an unexpected hardware issue. Now the real fun begins. Enjoy spending hours trawling sites like Reddit and Stack Overflow in a desperate attempt to solve your problem, then copying and pasting some code you don't understand into the terminal that winds up uninstalling half your operating system. Doesn't that sound thrilling? What? No, that sounds like the worst way you could spend an afternoon. But wait, it gets better! Trying to fix problems on Linux means getting acquainted with the command line interface, the most powerful tool at your disposal. Command line? You mean Like the thing my dad used with DOS? DOS? Of course not. The Linux terminal is nothing like DOS. It's got all sorts of powerful commands and programs like awk, sed, grep, mkdir, dif, sudo, apt-get, and fzk. Dude, are you alright? You sounded like you were choking for a moment there. I'm feeling better than ever, Bob, and you know why? Why? Because I'm not using Windows. Right. So, what kind of games you got on Linux anyway? Why, gaming on Linux has come a long way. Thanks to Valve's Proton compatibility layer, most of the games you played on Windows can also be played on Linux. Well, except those that use kernel mode anti-cheat programs. Those don't work, of course. And what kind of games might those be? Oh, you know, obscure games that no one plays, like, League of Legends and Fortnite. Okay, are there any Linux exclusive games? Or Linux exclusive apps, for that matter? So, what you're telling me is that installing Linux means having to relearn an entire operating system. One that has all the same apps as Windows, but with more hassle. That's right. And if I complain about it, a bunch of people on the internet are just gonna roll their eyes and call me an idiot. Now you're catching on! Well, I don't know about you, but that kinda sucks. Alright, then let me ask you a question, Bob. Do you enjoy the taste of Bill Gates' boot leather? What? I mean, we've already established that you're a Microsoft simp, Bob, and now we're just working out the details. Tell me, do you enjoy working your tongue into every crevice of Microsoft's boot? Do you love slobbering down every piece of dirt and grime between their treads? No. Look, I've got issues with Windows, sure, but shut up, moron. If you hate Linux, you must love Microsoft. I'll bet you're the kind of person that would let Bill Gates piss all over them and you'd frolic and gargle in the stream as if the gods of Olympus themselves were giving you a golden shower. Isn't that right, Bob? No, you're just making up a bunch of stuff because you've wrapped your entire identity around an operating system instead of actually developing a personality. So what are you saying, Bob? Are you saying I'm some kind of insufferable twerp who never moved on from high school and who's still shaking his fist at all the people who made fun of him by turning his technical expertise into a shield of superiority? Is that what you're saying, huh? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, you frickin' nerd. How dare you call me the N-word? That is our word. You have no right to use it.